Welcome to another episode of Make Shit Happen. Today's episode is about real estate. If you've ever thought about getting a start in real estate, you don't know how, you want to start a business from scratch, you want to jump in, you want to sell property, and you want to know how to get started, well, today's guest is going to tell you and show you exactly how to do that. Today's guest is Simon Caulfield. Simon is the owner of Place Estate Agents Kangaroo Point, specialising in more high-end luxury transactions in Brisbane each year than any other agent. Representing over 700 million in property sales over the past 13 years, Simon is solely focused on delivering the most successful outcome for his clients. Simon is known for his creative marketing strategies, intensive work ethic, and highly accurate knowledge of the market he specialises in. Simon's team is a prominent force in new construction, working closely with Brisbane's most recognised developers, advising on current market trends to delivering the best residential buildings. Simon and his team have successfully sold out 11 developments over the past 8 years. Simon is frequently quoted in the real estate segment of major news publications like the Courier Mail, the Australian Financial Review, the Luxury Network, the Urban Developer, maintaining a diverse inventory of exclusive listings and projects with a growing database through the Place network of over 107,000 buyers and 200 agents. Simon has been recognised as a top agent in Queensland for many years, but it is his transition into business ownership with a team of 25 successful individuals that is his greatest achievement. Welcome to the Make Shit Happen podcast. If you're a business owner or aspiring entrepreneur who is ready to learn how to stop procrastinating and take massive action to start turning your passion into profit today, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Sam McLeod, real estate expert, six-figure coach, and champion athlete. And my goal is to equip you with the exact tools and steps to create massive success today. Let's dive in. Simon, welcome.
Thanks, Sam.
Mate, glad to have you on. It's been quite a journey since we first met each other, from starting real estate myself and you doing what you do, me being in the development space. And mate, it's been quite a pleasure watching you grow your team and your company.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it.
I thought I'd start the first question off, for the people that are listening now that, wanting to necessarily get a start in real estate and whatnot. Where did you grow up? Where did you grow up as a kid?
So, mate, born in country Tamworth, New South Wales.
You're a Blues supporter.
So, mate, technically, if you play for State of Origin, it's the first game of football that you actually play, which was for the Proserpine Rhinos, I think they were called. I was 6. But I do have to support New South Wales, mate. Born as a Blue, but lived in Queensland for most of my life. So moved up to Ellie Beach when I was 4.5 and enjoyed the beautiful sunshine state that it is. And we progressively moved down through the coastal regions until we hit Brisbane when I was 18.
Yeah, right. So at what stage did the young Simon get into real estate?
Mate, look, I've always wanted to be successful, and whether that's training, personal achievements, had a vision to be a professional golfer, realised that I could play golf, but not at a level that would help me make money, and had the understanding to be able to walk away from that dream and just go, look, like my abilities were placed better elsewhere. So did a quick stint out at the wharf, and I think working out at the wharf taught me a lot about time management, and we were dealing with 5,000 to 7,000 cars on the wharf at any one time.
Is that right?
Yeah, so as an early 20s, young guy, priorities were a little bit different back then, and I guess you sort of work to sustain a lifestyle. But the call of real estate was beckoning. I had a few friends that ironically always said, "Look, you'd be great in real estate." And I think we'll touch on that point later on in the chat today. Yeah. But I just had this urge to be able to go and work in an environment where I could be a better version of myself. And so I jumped into real estate at the ripe old age of 22, and the rest is history.
So who did you work for, or where did you start?
Look, it's a really fascinating story, and I'll try and condense it. But a lady by the name of Cindy McGrath, who worked for her father, Brian McGrath, at Ray White Chermside, was actually looking to find a car. She was frustrated because she wasn't able to work out where her BMW was. I actually found out where the BMW was on the wharf. We were having a chat. sort of one thing led to another. She said, look, why don't you come and have a chat with my dad? I think real estate would be something that would be, well suited to you. One thing led to another. I did 2 weeks at Ray White Chermside. That didn't really get me anywhere. And it was probably just because, there was a few things that were misaligned. I've always been a creative guy, and so I figured that by putting Ray White Chermside on my resume, I might get a few doors open that weren't open before. So I actually walked back down Brunswick Street, and I'd done this walk 3 weeks earlier, and no one wanted to give me a job. And I remember all these agencies going, I didn't know you worked at Ray White. I didn't know that you, had basically worked with Brian McGrath. So anyway, we ended up getting a job at Cacelli Real Estate. And I'd met Albert. He was a 81-year-old Italian man that was the first real estate agent in New Farm in 1965. And he gave me a gig, and then he sold the business to another lady. I jumped through a couple of different agencies in my first couple of years. And I guess that just shows you as well that sometimes if you don't find the right environment, it doesn't necessarily mean you should give up on those dreams. And then I found Place, and happily to say that I've been with this great organisation for the last 12 years.
And when you were starting and jumping between the agencies, was there something in particular that you took and that you learnt from these other agencies before you got to Place?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the great real estate trainers that we all learn a lot from, Tom Panos, talks about a badly wrapped gift. And I love it because, sometimes in life, mistakes and challenges are there to define you and help you learn. And so I learned a lot from my first 2 principals. And I think, some of the things that they taught me were probably, what not to do in real estate as well. And I guess that's just the way that you present yourself and the way that you negotiate and I guess pitch for a property listing. But when I came to Place, it was really easy for me to understand why that business was so great. So it was a good learning lesson. But I also think as well that in any business or industry you're in, if you can try and find a great environment early on, it provides a wonderful platform for you to create the best version of you.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I remember, when I started in real estate, I started in resi like yourself, and I remember, walking in, and one of the first things that took my eye was, how everyone dressed and how everyone put themselves out there every day. And some guys are into the 3-piece suits, some guys come in the raffler and polo, and some guys wear the 2-piece. And it always amazed me how much pride real estate agents take in their appearance. I mean, look, you're dressed immaculately. And one thing I soon realised is some of the agents, no matter how glamour that they look, the work ethic that they put in doesn't match the way that they put themselves out there. And one of the first things that I had when I went into real estate was a guy that I worked with, Dean Yesberg, was my first, principal in real estate. And I worked with Matt Kiddo at the time. And we had a little quota every day that when we got in, and we had to make 100, 150 calls by lunchtime. And then we'd come back, eat our lunch, come back, and then we'd do it again. And you'd stay back till 7, 8 o'clock. And was that something similar process to you when you kind of started?
I think everyone's told that you need to make a heap of calls, and it's all about connects and the numbers game, and these sort of throwaway tokens get thrown at you. So yeah, my first 2 years absolutely covered off on that. I think I learnt pretty quickly that quality is key, and you talk about appearances. Your presentation can be fantastic, but if your delivery and follow through isn't, it sort of is irrelevant. And so I think I had those defining moments, as you probably had as well, where you met a particular client, and I guess they didn't care how you presented, but they really cared about the service and the effort that you provided. And they were the defining moments for me early on in my career.
Yeah.
So I think if you wrote a book about the 10 things of what not to do in real estate for a new real estate agent, you would change the thought process of a lot of people. But you are a byproduct of your environment, and you follow the directions and the leadership that you get. So rightfully or wrongfully, you don't know what you know until you try it.
So when did you buy Kangaroo Place? When did you start that?
So I worked within the Place New Farm office for 7 years. And talk about leadership. Like I had a fantastic leader in Judy Goodyear. I still consider Judy, one of the most influential people in my life because she taught me. I always had a great work ethic, right? Like when I wanted to be a professional golfer, I would hit golf balls for 8 hours a day on a range, and I guess sometimes the quality versus the quantity maybe wasn't always there. And so, when I came to Judy's office, she was very big on, bring the best version of you, provide the best service that you can, don't make promises that you can't keep, like don't take no for an answer when it comes to, presenting what you think is right. And she was just she was a really influential person and one of the most successful real estate agents in Brisbane. So I learned a lot in that 7 years. But to answer your question of when I bought place, and it was probably a evolution. I grew a team, and I had a team of 5, including myself. We were the largest team within Place New Farm. We were the number 1 agent, and I think we did a great job together. And I sort of had this aha moment. Maybe, if I kept doing this, could 5 turn into 10, 15, 20? Ironically, I've now got 25 wonderful people that I work with in our organisation.
That's a big team. Like that's not a small team.
No,
that's a big team.
So we made that transition 5.5 years ago, and we're coming up to our 6-year anniversary, which is a really it's a crazy thought to think that only 5 and a bit years ago I made this leap of faith to. You talk about business ownership. Like I think I was running a business the entire time I was at New Farm, but to have the responsibilities and worry about everything from trust accounting to property management to HR, marketing, the whole lot. Like there's a lot of things as a real estate agent you don't have to worry about compared to when you run a business.
Yeah.
There's some things that can be outsourced, but I think if you want to do it properly, you've got to be across it all. So, yeah, the last 5 years have been a fantastic journey, but I don't think that the first 7 years, were any less important because they helped define who I was as an agent and as a person. And I think I learnt some wonderful skills in that time, and that has definitely helped shape the individual that sits in front of you today.
Absolutely. And when it comes to, your average price point that you deal in, correct me if I'm wrong, is between 1 to say 10 million or thereabouts.
Well, the average price that we would be working with these days is north of 3, and I guess we're selling buildings where the average sale price in one building is 6 to 7 million. So
yeah.
It's not that we don't sell cheaper properties, but you naturally progress into a particular space.
Yeah.
And I think one of the great things, and I'm not one that references a huge amount of quotes, but like if you hang around 5 great people, you'll become great. And if you hang around 5 unsuccessful people, you're probably destined to, share the same future. And so, working in a high-end price point, naturally you meet other property owners that have high-end properties as well.
Which creates further opportunity as well.
Correct.
For business.
Yeah.
So I guess one of the first things I wanted to ask you is, what sets you apart from other agencies? Like why are people coming to you for this price point? Like why are they wanting to deal with you? Why are they not dealing with somebody else? Like let's say the great Maddie Lancashire, for example.
Yeah. So I think like one of the differences of what we do, and ultimately clients buy your energy, clients buy your personality. You can be a fantastic real estate agent, but if people don't like you or they don't feel that connection, the runs on the board don't always matter. So we've created a niche in the market that really has specialised in off-the-plan sales. And I guess I saw an opportunity where, someone that is your parents' age, for instance, might go, well, I want to make that move from a house to an apartment. Maybe there's not an apartment out there. How do I find something that's going to facilitate my needs? So we're trying to provide them with a solution even before they know that they're looking for that next move. And when I started getting into the high-end space, I also met a lot of developers. Most developers are successful, own good real estate. So that transition has definitely helped us. I also think that selling property that doesn't exist requires a different skill set. And I always joke it's the selling the dream. And, when you sell a property that's existing, you touch and feel it, you can assess very quickly if it suits your needs or not. But when you walk into an empty space or a studio like we're sitting in now, and you talk about the right-hand wall being the view and the left-hand wall being, the future kitchen, and people are trying to visualize and this concept of what they're moving to, that is a skill set that requires a different sales approach. So not saying that there's no one else out there that does it as well as we do, but I think we've been able to define a space in the Brisbane market that our history has shown that we've done that 11 times, and we've done that very successfully.
So if I'm Joe Blow agent down the road working at a Ray White McGrath, wherever, or just on his own trying to, make ends meet and trying to, I guess, further his reputation in the marketplace.
Yes.
What would be something that you'd recommend for them to focus on being new in the game? Like, because I hear from a lot of other agents that I used to speak to and being in the resi real estate when I started, like I used to hear the phrase that sometimes it can take 4 to 5 years to break into a particular market. So being new, like you have no reputation whatsoever, not much of a client base, no one's heard of you. What would be something that you'd recommend for them to be doing?
Give me a call and join our office.
0404.
So I think, again, you've got to be clear on two things: what your vision is and like what's your purpose. So why you're in real estate. You're doing it because you want to be successful, because you want to be acknowledged, because you want to help people, because you want to make money, because you want to understand real estate better, because you want to be a developer one day. Like whatever your purpose is, I think you got to be clear on that first.
Yeah.
But you'll hear me reference a lot of environment, team, structure, support. If you don't have a good environment, you are going to struggle to have the same level of success as someone that is basically doing the same amount of hours as you, has the same level of credibility as you, has the same number of Instagram followers as you, same database, everything. And I know for the real estate agents that might be listening to this, you might want to cover your ears, but real estate agents, aren't that important in the scheme of everybody out there in an essential role. Like doctors save lives, and there's a lot of emergency services workers, there's teachers that provide education. There are a number of industries that I think are like essential industries, and I mean this in a respectful way, but like we're very lucky to get to do what we do. So I think when you are a real estate agent, you've got to understand you've got a role, and fundamentally, if you want to be great at what you do, you can be a real estate agent in 2 days. You want to be a medical professional, you've got to study for 6 years. So to get to a level of greatness, you've got to work in a great environment. And I think to be able to have that level of skill, there aren't, unfortunately, a huge amount of businesses or real estate agencies out there that really focus on training. And so I guess, financially, there's nothing wrong with being financially motivated. It's something that drives me to be successful. But I'm more focused on how do we help people become a better version of themselves so then they can provide better service to their clients. And then if they provide great service, they get, as a byproduct of that, financially rewarded.
So how do you, for your team, how do you create that environment and that support so that they can be at their best?
Well, you talk about the new agent starting real estate. You come and work with a lead agent or a principal director, whatever title you want to give. You work alongside me. You see the day-to-day ins and outs of how we manage clients' expectations. I always do the ride in the car when I hire anyone that comes into our business, because I want to observe their behaviours and what they do when I'm on the phone, and do they take notes? Are they listening? Are they on their own phone, responding to messages on Insta? Are they engaging with people? Do they say thank you? Just their whole disposition. Like I couldn't care how you present at that point. I couldn't care where you come from at that point. I just want to understand how you behave, because behaviors are everything. And so, when someone behaves right, you can always change their appearance. Like when I started real estate, I wasn't the best presented person. I laugh at some of the photos of, the Tony Barlow 2-for-1 suits, and there was no tailoring back then because you were just fortunate you could get the 2-for-1 deal, And
I think the old Tarot Cash didn't go astray back then either.
Well, mate, Tony Barlow was good because you were guaranteed 2-for-1 for $350, and you just always got a suit that you loved and one that you didn't want to wear. So, but getting back to the training, it's lead by example. And the saying, like, it's not do as I do as I say. Like, I think for me, we use the wolf pack mentality a lot. We actually have a training session every Friday, and it's called the wolf pack. And if you've ever seen a wolf pack, there's the strongest wolves at the front and the rear. And I'm not going to do my David Attenborough impersonation right now, but
why not? Go on, give it to us.
There's one person in my office that does a fantastic impersonation. But you think about the two leaders at the front and the rear of that wolf pack, and they're the strongest wolves supporting everyone within that pack. And so in real estate, like, we don't believe in leaving people behind, so we provide them with every necessary skill and tool early on. But it's a coaching and I guess learn it all mentality as well. So if you want to be successful anywhere, you need to be willing to learn too. There's no point in joining an environment or a business if you're not actually willing to take those notes or that guidance on board.
Yeah, and that's very important too. Like, I think, environment, mentor. How hungry are you? There's the old saying of, you got to want success as bad as you need to breathe. And like that's just how involved and how deep dived you need to be in the business. Like, you hear the saying of don't dip your toes in the water, like fucking dive in. Yeah. Like, fully immerse yourself in what you're doing. And I think that's a key thing. Like, mate, there's not a second that goes by if I see you in person that you're not walking and talking or you're on your phone. It's just like you're that's why you've got two phones sitting here right now, because you obviously got one for work and one for personal. But it's one of those things.
Don't worry, the personal phone, mate, gets plenty of client calls as well. So
for all the VIPs, love it. I think one of the other things I wanted to touch on too is I want to talk more, I guess, about a little bit about your history and your past as well. So what's one crazy story or one crazy listing that you might have had, or what's one of the craziest things that you've ever had to do in your past to win a listing? What's one of the craziest things you've ever had to do?
Win a listing? I was worried about where you're going there.
No, I don't want to go back there.
I've had to climb over some balconies before and down some balconies because someone locked us out of the apartment, and that was a creative one. That wasn't winning the listing. That was probably making sure we didn't lose a listing.
I can imagine that.
Yeah, that was. I won't say how high up we were, but it was enough to make you feel a bit uncomfortable. I guess, like, when you say crazy, everyone's got a different interpretation of what's right. And so, I know I've had those listings where, everyone's heard this story. You've had to drive from Noosa to Robina, back and forth two or three times to negotiate a contract. And, you've done some stupid shit like calling someone at some ungodly hour of the morning, who might be overseas to try and close a deal. And I think they're the persistent parts of real estate. But like, when you use the word stupid, I guess I've had some fun at times with certain listings, and you try and draw a line in the sand. Like, you've definitely got to go, okay, is this like just a bit of fun and silliness, or is it, like bending the rules? And, there was a few times where we're a little bit creative. And in my early days, I think I did this a lot, was I would always use success of other individuals that were doing it far better than me. So I remember getting one of my best friends to invite 4 top agents out in New Farm at the time, and I won't say their names, but I told her who to call, and she called them, and she actually locked the second door on the bedroom, and just said, "Look, I've got a flatmate, and they do night shifts, so just just keep your voice down." And so basically, I got to listen to all 4 of those agents pitch to my friend, and it was the most challenging time of my life because I had to shut up for 4 hours. So that was difficult.
Mate, that's creative. I'll give you that.
But yeah, so you call it stupid / creative, but I remember getting out at the end, and she was really angry at me because I told her it would only take like half an hour. And what real estate agent does a pitch in half an hour? So anyway, 4 hours later, that involved a couple of bottles of red, and I was just reflecting on what I'd done, and I thought, this is really cool because I know what my competitors say and do now. And I know I wasn't at a level that, I wasn't performing at their level at that point either, but I don't know why I got that idea, but I just thought, like, how do I, I guess, see how they do their craft. And what I learned out of it was all 4 were very successful, but they did it very differently. And, one was like just, in your face, high energy, almost a little bit overpowering. The other one was sort of like didn't say nothing and almost seemed like they didn't want to be there. And one was like super informative with a lot of information and stats. And the last agent was like really good at asking questions, but probably didn't have that like confidence level that two of the other agents had. So I guess for me, I just tried to mash it all together. It's like when they say, who's your perfect basketballer or, golfer in my case, and you try and take different attributes. So yeah, that definitely was a wonderful tool. Please don't anyone get that idea to do that to me because I'd be really frustrated. But
I think you have some closed doors at your next listings, mate.
I'll knock on them.
That's hilarious. No, that's crazy, mate. That's so funny. So when it comes to, I guess, starting in real estate with, being a new agent. So if you had to start your business again from scratch, so you had to redo place all over again in 30 days, in your head, how would you do it again?
I'd actually write a plan down and a plan that is full encompassing because I think when you start a business, you focus on what's in front of you. You don't really think about the scale. And I would sit down with someone that's definitely done it at a level that is not only better than you, but probably at a level that you want to get to, and talk about the challenges of what that individual or that group of people might have faced. And then I would actually spitball, that idea with those people for 2 or 3 days straight before I'd actually push the button. And so age-old saying, if you want to cut down the tree quickly, well, spend 7 hours sharpening the axe and an hour cutting the tree down. And so preparation, I definitely had some great people around me when I started business, but I think you just transition in and you're like, well, I'm a real estate agent. I'm just going to keep selling property. And you don't factor in that there's other requirements that might take your time. So in that first 30 days, prep's a massive part, getting feedback from other people. I think also being really clear on roles, and I hate that I can't remember the individual that shared this with me, but the saying was the people that got you to where you are today might not be the same people that will get you to where you want to go next. And, the team that I had was fantastic, but there was one individual that was, great, did a fantastic job in their role, but probably putting them into another role that wasn't not only suited to them, but they weren't passionate about. Although the right intentions were there, it ended up actually creating more friction and problems. And so I think also acknowledging that you can be a wonderful salesperson, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a great leader. Or you could be a great EA, but you might not necessarily be a great manager. So identifying the roles that are inside that business and going, right, well, who do we actually need? And is the person that is there perfect for that? And I think it's easy to want to just work. It's like when you bring your mate on board. It's like, Sam, come and sell real estate with me. Like, we're good mates, it'll work. And then you sort of actually realize that, it might not work because there might not be similarities or you might have different visions. And so I think always hire for the role, not for the person.
Yep.
So I think like they're definitely the things in the first 30 days. I also think as well, don't be too hard on yourself. I see a lot of entrepreneurs and, I've got a lot of clients of mine that are very ambitious, and I think we're really critical on ourselves. And I think in my first 30 days of opening Place Kangaroo Point, I was so tough on myself that I probably made situations worse than what they really were because I was just focusing on what wasn't working and not actually going, hey, you've just made this massive transition.
What you focus on grows.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great point. And so I think, 30 days is a long time. Planning's critical. Hiring the right people is also critical. Understanding where your ambitions might take you, could be in two different directions. And I also think that plan you need to actually have two plans in the sense that it's not a plan A, plan B, but it's let's go and do this. And if what we want works out, great. If what we want doesn't work out, let's be prepared to reassess. And so in business structure, there's a phase called early struggle, and it's there for a reason. And then you tend to get into sometimes like a little bit of whitewash, and then there's a phase of predictable success. And so I think also you've got to acknowledge that if you're looking for predictable success in the first 30 days, 90 days, even maybe the first 12 months, it's not realistic because everything's evolving. And a good mentor of mine always likened it to when a child, is quite young and goes from crawling to stumbling to walking to stumbling again to jogging, a little bit of a stumble, and then they finally get a run. And it's not, walk, jog, run. It's, stumble, stumble, stumble in between. And so I think that plateau part is natural in progression of a business. So
what I'd take away from that is try and have the mindset of try not to focus on how can you win as quickly as possible, but focus on continually breaking through the barriers that present themselves and be the person and have the mindset to have a problem-solving attitude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good assessment.
Yeah. So what are you most excited about this year with your business? What are you most excited about? What's happening? What are you doing?
We just did our planning session yesterday, Design 23. I love acronyms and I love analogies. So I broke 2023 as the year ahead down into 4 key components that we would work in. So the first 2 is identifying 2 goals in each area of our life. So whether that's work, financial, health, community, charity, spiritual, relationships. And, I think that's one that can sometimes always be overlooked, especially in our industry. It's, we work really hard, but it's about making sure that you don't forget the purpose of why you're doing that and the people around you. The 0 was defined as eliminating negatives and dealing with obstacles. So it's not about having no negatives in the next 12 months, but it's how we choose to behave with those negatives. The next 2 was finding 2 areas in our life and our business where we could 2x, and I chose 2x as well because I think sometimes if you double what you've achieved in the last 12 months, it's actually a phenomenal achievement. And I know there's guys like Grant Cardone that talk about 10x all the time, and I think it's fantastic. But when you actually think about the practicalities of it, can I get 10 times as fit this year, or can I get 10 times as wealthy this year, or do 10 times as many deals? Like, scale's not applicable. And then the 3 was the support. So who are the 3 people around you that are going to help you reach those goals? Do you know the best part about last night was we got 25 people in our organisation, and I received 14, 15 text messages from our sales agents, from our administration, from our property management saying, today was awesome. Thanks Simon and Jane, who's my office manager. Love the effort that you put in, love the energy, feel so motivated, feel like I'm clearer, and just we sat down with each and every one of the individuals in our business and just got to hear what they wanted to achieve over the next 12 months.
Yeah.
And I had that proud dad moment, It's like, I guess for any, parent out there when their kid scores their first goal or try, and it's like, yes, you've done it. And I felt like there was just this huge sense of achievement that, we'd done something great together. So am I excited for continued growth this year? Absolutely. We're also doing something really exciting with our office space. And I'll share a little bit more about that when the time is right. But that's just given me a totally different perspective on what our future looks like, because I'm 35, so this is a commitment that I'm making for like the next 20 years.
Yeah.
So when you talk about vision and sustainability in our business, like we're planning to be here for a long time. With a young office, we've got the average age of 28 in our business, which is extremely young for real estate. It's really rewarding to know that everyone that's on that journey with me has got a space and an environment and a leadership vision that they can buy into for the long run. So, mate, the next year is going to be phenomenal. It won't be without its challenges, but as I said, those challenges can be badly wrapped gifts, and it's how we choose to behave and deal with them that defines us.
Well, we've got time for one more question, and I just wanted to ask you, what does the day-to-day of Simon Caulfield look like? What time do you get up? What's the first thing you do? Walk me through all of it.
I think, and this is the truth of it, is that there is a level of unpredictability and change in my day-to-day role. I'm not going to sit there and tell people that I wake up at 5 o'clock and I do 100 push-ups like Sam does and go for a 5K run.
It's 150, mate.
Sorry, mate. So I've lost touch. But I would say that my structure's not as defined as, what it used to be, but I think it's more predicated around, what I need to achieve on a day-to-day basis. And I really do take each day as it comes. And so for me, sometimes it does involve late nights, and I'm, known to be one that sends emails at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning and respond to those emails at 6 and 7 o'clock the same day. So, sleep is valuable to us, but when I need to be on, I'm on, and I will sacrifice everything to make sure that we achieve the goals that we need to. But Mondays, there's a huge amount of follow-up on Saturdays. I think people underestimate how much work goes into a Monday. People go, oh, you must have a day off, and it's like, well, weekends are work and then Mondays back into the grind. So 7 days a week is the commitment that we do make. Good agents, I think it's hard to say that you have a genuine day off because your phone is always on. But there's a lot of follow-up. There's healthy conversations that are always being had. I always like to have constructive conversations with my clients because I think you're always problem-solving, and it's never a tough conversation or a difficult conversation. I just think that you're progressing. It's a journey. I think also with my team, having 14 agents in the business as well, they've got their day-to-day role. So being available for them and being able to make sure that we can resolve problems together and get the best result for our clients is important. Obviously, Saturdays is game day. If you had to pick one day in the week to be a successful real estate agent, just be on your game on Saturday. Get up early, make sure that you've had breakfast, went to the gym, done whatever you've done by 7:30 at the absolute latest. Wear your favorite outfit, wear your best suit, give yourself a little bit of a pep talk on what you want to achieve for the day. Send all your clients a message and let them know that you're ready for a great open home, and that that Sam's coming through, or whoever that buyer might be. Just being super positive about what's ahead, making yourself available to everyone, making sure that you're ready for any of the questions and challenges that might come your way. And I just think that real estate is not defined. Like, ideal weeks are fantastic, and we definitely encourage that in our business. But I think if you don't have flexibility, I look at gold again. I love analogies, and I look at gold, and gold can be bent and made into so many different things. It's not just used for jewelry; it's used in semiconductors, and there's gold in our iPhones. It's such an amazing material. And as a real estate agent, if you're not malleable, if you can't change and be flexible and adapt to whatever's thrown your way, it's going to be hard to be successful. So. Have an ideal week, have a structure, but don't be afraid as well to live a lifestyle you want. And I think if you spoke to Simon 14 years ago, he would have spent copious amounts of hours on the phone and, being at the office until crazy hours of the night. And, the Simon of today probably has a belief that he needs to, call it or flip that off switch at a certain time. Otherwise, you just don't stop.
Yeah.
But real estate's an exciting industry. I think if anyone's got the itch to, be successful, be ambitious, not be afraid to put themselves out there, happy to help people, and wants to be financially rewarded, there's no better industry that I can think of been in than being a real estate agent. So, happy to chat with anyone. And if anyone wants a better view of how we go about our business, I'm more than happy to sit down and chat with them.
Fantastic. Well, mate, thanks for coming on and sharing your knowledge, mate. I really appreciate that.
Not a problem. Thanks,
ladies
Sam.
and gentlemen, Simon Caulfield. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you've learned something from today's episode and know the next steps to focus on in your business. Want more resources to jumpstart your journey? Click the link in the show notes to see what else I have to offer and book a call with myself to jumpstart your business and make shit happen. I specialize in helping people turn their passion into six-figure businesses to replace your 9-to-5 through online education and high-ticket coaching. If this is something that interests you, you can reach out to me through any of my social media outlets in the description below.